Dhamma. Generally, we celebrate this the full moon day of July, Ashada Purnima, because on that Ashada Purnima, Lord Buddha, he started turning this wheel of Dhamma. So, but this year it was like, say, some 3 days back we had that full moon day. That was on Thursday. Generally, Thursday is working day. People will be busy. On Saturdays, the closest Saturday or Sunday, all over the world, they celebrate so that more people, they can join this, they can make use of this, this celebration, chanting this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, understanding this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, and thereby developing the insights regarding happiness, suffering, regarding the ways and means to achieve true happiness. The world is stuck in, like, say, in pursuit of happiness, but because the knowledge of where is the true knowledge of this happiness and how to get it, and what and how to avoid it, what are the ways and means, completely the world is, like, say, it's ignorant of this. Because of that reason, only the Buddhas discover this, understand the ways and means to achieve true happiness. Parallelly, the ways and means to keep away the suffering and the means of suffering, the reasons of suffering, the ways of suffering, the causes of suffering. That is also equally important. There are so many ways and means. All that is actually beautifully combined in this very first discourse itself. Some is absolutely beautiful, because the most, like, say, authoritative teachings of Buddha, they are very much embedded, they are very much, like, say, pooled, compiled in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, very authoritatively. So that we will see the meaning of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. We try to, like, say, explore the meaning from different perspectives. Each time, if you plunge into this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, you will come up with some new insights. That is the beauty of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. And before that, we will chant this, the original chanting, the utterance of Buddha in his own language, that is Pali language. Of course, it is very much similar to our present-day Indian languages also. And of course, with some faith, thinking that, knowing that these are the words of Buddha, this is the most powerful discourse, which contains the core of Buddha's teachings, the powerful insights. It's very much embedded in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, because of which this Dhamma wheel, it started rotating. That means it started rotating, means this right through it started liberating the people, converting the people from ignorance to wisdom, from suffering to happiness, from stress to relief, from bondage to freedom. That kind of conversion, that kind of switchover, that kind of transition, it happened in the minds of the people from this very day, from this very sutta, from this very discourse. It was taught more than 2,500 years back in the place called Sarnath. It is very close to Benares, Varanasi. After Buddha's enlightenment in Bodh Gaya, he traveled all the way from Bodh Gaya to Varanasi, the Sarnath, and there 5 of his disciples, they were there, and he gave this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta to them. And from there onwards, this change in the perception of happiness and establishing in true happiness, in true freedom, in absolute liberation. That started happening because after listening to this, that we are going to see in this sutta, so many beings, they got liberated, and one human being also, he could see Nibbana, he could enter into the plane of Nibbana, Sota, the stream of Nibbana. Those things, little bit of background also, we will see just for 5-10 minutes after this sutta chanting. And also we will see the meaning of this complete sutta. If possible, word by word also we can see. Of course, it takes a lot of time. Or maybe verse by verse we will see the meaning of this entire sutta, and we can try to extract the best insights or the best, the key takeaways, which are quite practical, which can be like say, which can be made use of in our day-to-day life. So that kind of some practical, like say, tips or the key takeaways or the wisdom or those insights, also we will try to extract from this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I find it very fascinating. Definitely, of course, all over the world, thousands, lakhs of people, they are very much fascinated with this sutta. And definitely, many of you may be a little bit aware of this. And today we will see, we will dig deep into this sutta and extract the best from this occasion. So that is the importance of today's celebration of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Dhammacakkappavattana Day is celebrated as Dhammacakkappavattana Day, the turning of the Dhamma wheel celebration, or simply Dhamma Day also, because from this day onwards, the Dhamma started flowing in the world. That means it started converting the minds of the people who are stuck in the ignorance of this worldliness, thereby in this suffering, worldliness, and how to change that bound mind to a free mind, that sorrowful mind to a happy, peaceful mind, liberated mind. That's what is the, like say, the purpose of today's celebration of this Dhammacakkappavattana Day. Okay. Now, we'll just chant this sutta. It may take some 15-20 minutes, and with all devotion, with all faith, with you can understand a little bit of meaning also. If you can't understand also, have faith that these are the words of Buddha, and it is the first teaching. It has immense power, strength that you understand, and then that very faith also will help you to open up your mind, and subconsciously you will get some meaning, some inspiration. So definitely peace and happiness. So with that idea, just listen to this, and then we will see its meaning. Okay. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagavaraham samma sambuddhorja charana sampanno sugato lokavidu. Okay. Anuttaro purisadhamma sarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati. Namo tassa samma sambuddhassa. Swakato bhagavata dhammo sanditiko akaliko. Ehipassiko apanayako pachatam vejitabbo vinnohiti. Namo tassa niyanika sadammasa. Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Nyaya patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Samichi patipanno bhagavato savaka sangho Yadidam chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala Esa bhagavato savaka sangho आहुनेयो पाहुनेयो दक्षिणेयो अंजलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यकेतं लोकस्साति नमो तस्स अट्ट अर्य पुग्गला महासंगसा विपत्ति पटिवाहाय सब्ब संपत्ति सिद्धिया सब्ब दुःखं विनाशाय सब्ब भयं विनाशाय सब्ब रोगं विनाशाय भवेदीर्घायुकदायक सब्ब लोकं हितत्थाय परित्तन्तं वनामहे समन्ता चक्रवालेषु अत्र गच्छन्तु देवता सद्धम्मं मुनिराजसा सुनन्तु सद्गमोक्तदं धम्म श्रवण कालो अयं वदन्ता धम्म श्रवण कालो अयं वदन्ता परित्त श्रवण कालो अयं वदन्ता नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा एवं मे सुतं एकं समयं भगवा वाराणसीयं विहरति इसी पटने मिगधाये तत्र को भगवा पंचवर्गीये भिक्खु अमन्तेसि द्वे मे भिक्खवे अन्तापभजितेन न सेवितब्बा कतमे द्वे योचायं कामेषु कामसु कल्लिकानुयोगो हीनो गम्मो पोतुज्जनिको अनर्यो अनत्त संहितो योचायं अत्त किलमतानुयोगो दुःखो अनर्यो अनत्त संहितो एते को भिक्खवे उभो अन्ते अनुपगम्म मज्जिमा पटिपदा तथागतेन अभिसंबुद्धा चक्षुकरणी ज्ञानकरणी उपशमाया विन्याय संबोधाय निब्बानाय संवर्तति कतमा च सा भिक्खवे मज्जिमा पटिपदा तथागतेन अभिसंबुद्धा चक्षुकरणी ज्ञानकरणी उपशमाय विन्याय संबोधाय निब्बानाय संवर्तति अयमेवार्यो अट्टंगिको मग्गो संयथिदं सम्मा दिट्टि सम्मा संकप्पो सम्मा वाचा सम्मा कम्मन्तो सम्मा जीवो सम्मा वायामो सम्मा सति सम्मा समाधि अयं कोसा भिक्खवे मज्जिमा पटिपदा तथागतेन अभिसंबुद्धा चक्षुकरणी ज्ञानकरणी उपशमाय विन्याय संबोधाय निब्बाणाय संवर्तति इदं कोपन भिक्खवे दुःखं गर्य सच्चं जातिपि दुःखा जरापि दुःखा व्याधिपि दुःखो मरणंपि दुःखं अप्येहि संपयोगो दुःखोऽप्येहि विपयोगो दुःखो यं पिच्छन्ना लभति तंपि दुःखं संकिट्टेन पञ्चुपादानस्कन्ध दुःखा इदं कोपन भिक्खवे दुःख समुदयं गर्य सच्चं यायं तणः पोनोपविका नन्दिराग सहगता तत्र तत्राभिनन्दिनी संयतिदं कामतणः भवतणः विभवतणः इदं कोपन भिक्खवे दुःख निरोधं गर्य सच्चं यो तस्सा एव तणः यासेष विराग निरोधो छागोपटि निस्सर्गो मुक्ति अनालयो इदं कोपन भिक्खवे दुःख निरोधगामिनी पटिपदार्य सच्चं अयमेवार्यो अट्टंगिको मग्गो संयतिदं सम्मा दिट्टि सम्मा संकप्पो सम्मा वाचा सम्मा कम्मन्तो सम्मा जीवो सम्मा वायामो सम्मा सति सम्मा समाधि इदं दुःखं गर्य सच्चन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि अंकोपनिदं दुःखं गर्य सच्चं परिन्नेयन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि पंकोपनिदं दुःखं गर्य सच्चं परिज्ञातन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि इदं दुःख समुदयं गर्य सच्चन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि संकोपनिदं दुःख समुदयं गर्य सच्चं पहातब्बन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि पंकोपनिदं दुःख समुदयं गर्य सच्चं पहीनन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि इदं दुःख निरोधं गर्य सच्चन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि तंकोपनिदं दुःख निरोधं गर्य सच्चं सच्चिकातब्बन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि तंकोपनिदं दुःख निरोधं गर्य सच्चं सच्चिकातन्ति मे भिक्खवे पुब्बे अनुनुसुते सुदम्मेषु चक्षुं उदपादि ज्ञानं उदपादि पन्या उदपादि विद्या उदपादि आलोको उदपादि ಇದಂ ದುಃಖ ನಿರೋಧಗಾಮಿನಿ ಪಟಿಪದ ಅರ್ಯಸಚ್ಚಂತಿ ಮೇ ಭಿಕ್ಕವೇ ಪುಬ್ಬೆ ಅನುನುಸುತೆ ಸುಧಮ್ಮೆ ಸೂಚಕ್ಕುಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಪನ್ಯಾ ಉದಪಾದಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಆಲೋಕ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಸಂಕೋಪಣಿದಂ ದುಃಖ ನಿರೋಧಗಾಮಿನಿ ಪಟಿಪದ ಅರ್ಯಸಚ್ಚಂ ಭಾವೇ ತಬ್ಬಂತಿ ಮೇ ಭಿಕ್ಕವೇ ಪುಬ್ಬೆ ಅನುನುಸುತೆ ಸುಧಮ್ಮೆ ಸೂಚಕ್ಕುಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಪನ್ಯಾ ಉದಪಾದಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಆಲೋಕೋ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಸಂಕೋಪಣಿದಂ ದುಃಖ ನಿರೋಧಗಾಮಿನಿ ಪಟಿಪದ ಅರ್ಯಸಚ್ಚಂ ಭಾವಿತಂತಿ ಮೇ ಭಿಕ್ಕವೇ ಪುಬ್ಬೆ ಅನುನುಸುತೆ ಸುಧಮ್ಮೆ ಸೂಚಕ್ಕುಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಪನ್ಯಾ ಉದಪಾದಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಆಲೋಕೋ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಯಾವಕಿ ವಂಚಮೇ ಭಿಕ್ಕವೇ ಇಮೇ ಸೂಚತು ಸು ಅರ್ಯಸಚ್ಚೇಸು ಏವಂತಿ ಪರಿವರ್ತನ್ ದ್ವಾದಸಾಕಾರಂ ಯಥಾಭೂತಂ ಜ್ಞಾನದರ್ಶನಂ ಮಾ ಸುವಿಸುದ್ಧಂ ಅಹೋಸಿ ನೇವತಾವಾಹಂ ಭಿಕ್ಕವೇ ಸದೇವಕೆ ಲೋಕೆ ಸಮಾರಕೆ ಸಬ್ರಹ್ಮಕೆ ಸಸ್ಸಮಣ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೀಯಾಪಜಾಯ ಸದೇವ ಮನುಸ್ಸಾಯ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬೋಧಿಂ ಅಭಿಸಂಬುದ್ಧೋತಿ ಪಚ್ಚನ್ಯಾಸಿಂ ತಥೋಚಕೋ ಮೇ ಭಿಕ್ಕವೇ ಇಮೇ ಸೂಚತು ಸು ಅರ್ಯಸಚ್ಚೇಸು ಏವಂತಿ ಪರಿವರ್ತನ್ ದ್ವಾದಸಾಕಾರಂ ಯಥಾಭೂತಂ ಜ್ಞಾನದರ್ಶನಂ ಸುವಿಸುದ್ಧಂ ಅಹೋಸಿ ಅಥಾಹಂ ಭಿಕ್ಕವೇ ಸದೇವಕೆ ಲೋಕೆ ಸಮಾರಕೆ ಸಬ್ರಹ್ಮಕೆ ಸಸ್ಸಮಣ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೀಯಾಪಜಯಾಯ ಸದೇವ ಮನುಸ್ಸಾಯ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಸಮ್ಮಾ ಸಂಬೋಧಿಂ ಅಭಿಸಂಬುದ್ಧೋತಿ ಪಚ್ಚನ್ಯಾಸಿಂ ಜ್ಞಾನಂಚ ಪರಮೇ ದರ್ಶನಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಅಕುಪ್ಪ ಮೇ ಚೇತೋ ವಿಮುಕ್ತಿ ಅಯಮಂತಿ ಮಾ ಜಾತಿ ನತ್ತಿದಾನಿ ಪುನಃಭವೋತಿ ಇದಮವೋಚ ಭಗವ ಅತಮನ ಪಂಚವಜ್ಞಾ ಭಿಕ್ಖು ಭಗವತೋ ಭಾಸಿತಂ ಅಭಿನಂದಂತಿ ಇಮಸ್ಮಿನ್ ಚ ಪನವೈಯಾಕರಣಸ್ಮಿನ್ ಬನ್ಯಾಮಾನೆ ಆಯುಸ್ಮತೋ ಕೊಂಡನ್ಯಸ್ಸ ವಿರಜಂ ವೀತಬಲಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕುಂ ಉದಪಾದಿ ಯಂಕಿಂಚಿ ಸಮುದಯ ಧಮ್ಮಂ ಸಬ್ಬಂತಂ ನಿರೋಧ ಧಮ್ಮಂತಿ ಪವತ್ತಿತೆ ಚಪನ ಭಗವತಾ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕೆ ಬುಮ್ಮಾದೇವ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ಬಾಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ಬುಮ್ಮಾನಾಂ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ಸದ್ದಂ ಶುತ್ವಾ ಚಾತು ಮಹಾರಾಜಿಕ ದೇವಾ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ಬಾಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ಚಾತು ಮಹಾರಾಜಿಕಾನಾಂ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ಸದ್ದಂ ಶುತ್ವಾ ತಾವತಿಂ ಸ ದೇವಾ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ವಾರಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ತಾವತಿಂಸಾನಾಂ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ಸದ್ದಂ ಶುತ್ವಾ ಯಾಮದೇವಾ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ವಾರಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ಯಾಮಾನಾಂ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ಸದ್ದಂ ಶುತ್ವಾ ತುಸಿತ ದೇವಾ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ವಾರಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ತುಸಿತಾನಾಂ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ಸದ್ದಂ ಶುತ್ವಾ ನಿಮ್ಮಾಣರತಿ ದೇವಾ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ವಾರಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ನಿಮ್ಮಾಣರತೀನಾಂ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ಸದ್ದಂ ಶುತ್ವಾ ಪರನಿಮ್ಮಿತ ವಸವತಿನೋ ದೇವಾ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ವಾರಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ಪರನಿಮ್ಮಿತ ವಸವತೀನಾಂ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ಸದ್ದಂ ಶುತ್ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಕಾಯಿಕಾ ದೇವಾ ಸದ್ದಮನುಸ್ಸಾವೇಸುಂ ಏತಂ ಭಗವತಾ ವಾರಣಸ್ಯಂಗಿಸಿ ಪಠನೆ ಮಿಗದಾಯೇ ಅನುತ್ತರಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಂ ಪವತ್ತಿಟಂ ಅಪ್ಪಟಿವತ್ತಿಯಂ ಸಮಣೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಾಹ್ಮಣೇನ ವಾ ದೇವೇನ ವಾ ಮಾರೇನ ವಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮುಣಾ ವಾ ಕೇನಚಿವಾ ಲೋಕಸ್ಮಿಂತಿ ಇತಿಹತ್ತೇನ ಕಣೇನತ್ತೇನ ಲಯೇನತ್ತೇನ ಮುಹೂರ್ತೇನ ಯಾವ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಲೋಕ ಸದ್ದೋ ಅಬ್ಬುಗಚ್ಚಿ ಅಯಂಚಾದ ಅಸಸಹಸ್ಸಿ ಲೋಕದಾತು ಸಂಕಂಪಿ ಸಂಪಕಂಪಿ ಸಂಪವೇದಿ ಅಪ್ಪಮಾಣೋ ಚೌಳಾರೋ ಒಬಾಸೋ ಲೋಕೆ ಪಾತುರಹೋಸಿ ಅತಿಕ್ಕಮ್ಮ ದೇವಾನಾಂ ದೇವಾನುಭಾವಂ ಅತಕೋ ಭಗವಾ ಇಮಂ ಉದಾನಾಂ ಉದಾನೇಸಿ ಅನ್ಯಾಸಿ ವತವೋ ಕೊಂಡನ್ಯೋ ಅನ್ಯಾಸಿ ವತವೋ ಕೊಂಡನ್ಯೋತಿ ಇತಿ ಹಿದಂ ಗಾಯಸ್ಮತೋ ಕೊಂಡನ್ಯಸ್ಸ ಅನ್ಯಾ ಕೊಂಡನ್ಯೋತ್ವೇವ ನಾಮಂ ಅಹೋಸೀತಿ ಅತಕೋ ಆಯಸ್ಮ ಅಟ್ಟಾಸಿ ಕೊಂಡತ್ತೋ ದಿಟ್ಟದಮ್ಮೋ ಪಥದಮ್ಮೋ ವಿದಿತದಮ್ಮೋ ಪರಿಯೋಗಾಲದಮ್ಮೋ ತಿನ್ನ ವಿಚಿಕ್ಕಿಚ್ಚೋ ವಿಗತ ಕತಂಕತೋ ವೇಸಾರಜ್ಜಪ್ಪತ್ತೋ ಅಪರಪಚ್ಚಯೋ ಸತ್ತು ಶಾಸನೆ ಭಗವಂತಂಗೇತದವೋಚ ಲಭಯ್ಯಾಹಂ ಬಂತೆ ಭಗವತೋ ಸಂತಿಕೆ ಪಬ್ಬಜ್ಜಂಗ್ ಲಭಯ್ಯಂಗ್ ಉಪಸಂಪದಂತಿ ಏಹಿ ಬಿಕ್ಕೂತಿ ಭಗವಾವೋಚ ಸ್ವಾಖಾತೋ ದಮ್ಮೋ ಚರಾ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಚರ್ಯಂಗ್ ಸಮ್ಮಾದುಕ್ತಸ್ಸ ಅಂತಕಿರ್ಯಾಯತಿ ಸಾವತಸ್ಸ ಆಯಸ್ಮತೋಪಸಂಪದಾ ಹೋಸಿ ಏತೇನ ಸಚ್ಚವಜ್ಜೇನ ಸೋತಿನೋ ಹೋತು ಸಬ್ಬದ ಏತೇನ ಸಚ್ಚವಜ್ಜೇನ ಹೋತು ನೋ ಜಯ ಮಂಗಲ ಏತೇನ ಸಚ್ಚವಜ್ಜೇನ ಪಾತು ನೋ ರತನತ್ತಯ ದ್ವಿತೀಯೋ ವಿವಜ್ಜಂತು ಸಬ್ಬರೋಗೋ ವಿನಶ್ಯತು ಮಾತೆ ಭವತ್ವಂತರಾಯೋ ಸುಖಿ ದೀರ್ಘಾಯುಕೋ ಭವ ವತು ಸಬ್ಬ ಮಂಗಲಂ ರಕ್ಕಂತು ಸಬ್ಬ ದೇವತಾ ಸಬ್ಬ ಬುದ್ಧಾನುಭಾವೇನ ಸಬ್ಬ ಧಮ್ಮಾನುಭಾವೇನ ಸಬ್ಬ ಸಂಘಾನುಭಾವೇನ ಸದಾ ಸ್ವತ್ತಿ ಭವಂತು ತೇ ನಾಕತ್ತಯ ಕಭೂತಾನಾಂ ಪಾಪಗ್ರಹ ನಿವಾರಣ ಪರಿತ್ತಸ್ಸಾನುಭಾವೇನ ಹಂತು ನೋ ಉಪದ್ದವೆ ದೇವೋ ವಸಾತು ಕಾಲೇನ ಸಸ್ಯ ಸಂಪತ್ತಿ ಹೇತು ಚ ಪೀತೋ ಭವತು ಲೋಕೋ ಚ ರಾಜಾ ಭವತು ಧಮ್ಮಿಕೋ ಯಂ ದುನ್ನಿಮಿತ್ತಂಗವಮಂಗಲಂ ಚಾಯೋ ಚಾಮನಾಪೋ ಸಗುಣಸ್ಸ ಸದ್ದೋ ಪಾಪಗ್ರಹೋ ದುಃಸುಪಿನಂ ಅಕಂತಂ ಬುದ್ಧಾನುಭಾವೇನ ವಿನಾಶಮೆಂತು ಧಮ್ಮಾನುಭಾವೇನ ವಿನಾಶಮೆಂತು ಸಂಘಾನುಭಾವೇನ ವಿನಾಶಮೆಂತು ಆಕಾಶತಾ ಚ ಬುಮ್ಮಟ್ಟಾ ದೇವನಾಗ ಮಹಿದ್ದಿಕ ಪುಣ್ಯಂತಂಗನುಮೋದಿತ್ವಾ ಚಿರಂ ರಕ್ಕಂತು ಶಾಸನಂ ಚಿರಂ ರಕ್ಕಂತು ದೇಶನಂ ಚಿರಂ ರಕ್ಕಂತು ಮಂಪರಂ ಏತಾವತಾ ಚ ಅಮ್ಮೇಹಿ ಸಂಪದಂ ಸಬ್ಬೇ ದೇವಾ ಅನುಮೋದಂತು ಸಬ್ಬೇ ಭೂತಾ ಅನುಮೋದಂತು ಸಬ್ಬೇ ಸತ್ತಾ ಅನುಮೋದಂತು ಸಬ್ಬ ಸಂಪತ್ತಿ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ ನಿಬ್ಬಾನ ಸಂಪತ್ತಿ ಸಿದ್ಧಿಯ ಇದನ್ನೋ ಜ್ಞಾತಿ ನಂಗೋತು ಸುಖಿತಾ ಹೊಂತು ಜ್ಞಾತಯೋ ಇದನ್ನೋ ಜ್ಞಾತಿ ನಂಗೋತು ಸುಖಿತಾ ಹೊಂತು ಜ್ಞಾತಯೋ ಇದನ್ನೋ ಜ್ಞಾತಿ ನಂಗೋತು ಸುಖಿತಾ ಹೊಂತು ಜ್ಞಾತಯೋ ಸಬ್ಬೇ ಬುದ್ಧಾ ಬಲಪಾತ ಪಚ್ಚೇಕಾನಂಚಯಂ ಬಲಂಗರಹಂತಾನಂಚ ತೇಜೇನ ರಕ್ಕಂ ಬಂದಾಮಿ ಸಬ್ಬಸೋ ಸಬ್ಬೇ ಧಮ್ಮಾ ಬಲಪಾತ ಅರ್ಯ ಸಚ್ಚನಂಚಯಂ ಬಲಂ ಧಮ್ಮಚಕ್ಕಸ್ಸ ತೇಜೇನ ರಕ್ಕಂ ಬಂದಾಮಿ ಸಬ್ಬಸೋ ಸಬ್ಬೇ ಸಂಘಾ ಬಲಪಾತ ತಾನಂಚಯಂ ಬಲಂ ಶಾಸನಸ್ಸ ತೇಜೇನ ರಕ್ಕಂ ಬಂದಾಮಿ ಸಬ್ಬಸೋ ವಿನಾ ಪುಣ್ಯಾಕಂ ಮಾಮೇ ಬಾಲ ಸಮಾಗಮೋ ಸತಂ ಸಮಾಗಮೋ ಹೋತು ಯಾವ ನಿಬ್ಬಾನ ಪತ್ಯ ಇದಂ ಮೇ ಪುಣ್ಯಾಕಮಂ ಆಸವಕಯಂ ವಹಂ ಹೋತು ಸಬ್ಬ ದುಃಖಾಪಮುಚ್ಚತು ನಿಬ್ಬಾನ ಸಂಪಚ್ಚಯೋ ಹೋತು ಸುಖಿ ಹೋತು ಮಂಗಲ. So this is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Sutta means discourse. Dhammacakkappavattana. Dhamma, you know, Dhamma, that is this right view, this the knowledge that liberates you, that is Dhamma. Chakka means that wheel of this, that knowledge, the true knowledge, it started rolling. Pavattana means it started rolling. Chakka means wheel. Pavattana means rolling. So the discourse, the first discourse, it started, like say, rolling this Dhamma, this right view, because of which the people started becoming enlightened, becoming liberated from this bondage of worldliness. So that is the meaning of Dhammacakkappavattana. Pavattana means pravartana. Pravartana means like rolling. Chakka means chakra, the wheel. The wheel of Dhamma started rolling. So this is the discourse which started that kind of that trigger, that momentum was built through this sutta, through this discourse, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. As I told you, the background is after Buddha's enlightenment. Buddha traveled all the way from Bodh Gaya to this Saranath, close to this Varanasi. There is one park called Deer Park. The Deer Park. These 5 bhikkhus, they just actually, they were not happy with Buddha's approach to enlightenment. They were with Buddha actually before his enlightenment. When he started taking food, they thought that only by torturing the body one will get liberation. This Buddha has started taking food, so he will not get liberation. Better to leave him. All these days we served him, it's of no use. Now we will leave him and we'll go to some other place. So they left him when he was in Bodh Gaya. And then they came all the way to this Saranath and they were doing some sadhana there in Deer Park. But when Buddha, he realized that these people are there in Sarnath, out of compassion, out of gratitude, after all, they served him. So he came to them and he gave this first discourse to them. And what is the meaning of this, we will see. And of course, it was like, say, the two major aspects, the two major teachings that are very much embedded in almost all teachings of Buddha, that has they're highlighted here in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. So what are they? The very first beginning of this sutta is like Dveme bhikkave anta pabbajitena na sevitabba katame dve. There are two. Dve means like dvi, two. There are two things, two extreme things. Those things, pabbajitena, the renunciates, those who are looking for superior happiness, they have given up the worldly life, and those who are looking for the superior happiness, they have to give up two extreme things. Of course, this is applicable for even the lay people also, those who are looking for superior happiness. Not maybe in the exact absolute sense, in a relative sense. These things are applicable for lay people also. Please understand that when Buddha is expressing that bhikkave, the renunciates, mendicants, in that way, when Buddha is addressing, don't think this is applicable only for the renunciate mendicants. For lay people also, it is applicable at its own, like say, in some limitation of all. In that way, you should look into this. The ultimate, the highest goal is what Buddha is talking about, but we should progress in this path according to our abilities. In that way, you should pursue these teachings. Even the lay people, the householders also. So what are these two extremes that Buddha is talking about? The two extremes one should avoid. Katame dve is, what are these two extremes? Yo chayang kamesu kama sukallikanu yogo hino gammo potujjaniko anaryo anatta samhito. The first one is the first extreme that one should the renunciate completely, they should avoid it. The householders, they should have restraint on this. On what? On this kamesu kama sukallikanu yogo, in the sensual pleasures. After all, human beings, they are in this human world because of desire for the sensual pleasures, but one should not, like say, get carried away by this sensual. One should have some control in this. Even a householder, Buddha has to teach this. The third precept, the five precepts, the third one is, let us say, this kamesu michachara veramani. So you can't behave like one animal, like one dog or one sheep, like simply indulging in the sensual pleasures in the sexual intercourse, just like animals. You have your own, like say, the human world has more discipline, more maturity, more control. And again, the divine realms much more control. The Brahmic realms, they transcend all these sensual pleasures. This especially the body sense pleasures. That way, as a person progresses in the evolution or in the or in spirituality, the spiritual progress, the step by step, they have more control, more maturity on these sensual pleasures. They can't indulge in the sensual pleasures like animals. So in that way, you should pursue this first extreme that Buddha is talking about, which is very much applicable for the householders. So what Buddha is talking about? One should, the renunciates, definitely they should keep away. They should not indulge in these sensual pleasures because they're hino, they're like very, like say, very cheap. They're only that is the way of the worldly people, or like mean people, those who are looking for superior happiness, they should not get trapped into these mean pleasures, which in turn will give more suffering only, more bondage only. So in that way, Buddha is encouraging, or rather he is like people who are looking for liberation, they should ignore these very mean things, which gives very, very mean pleasure, and also it will trap you in this, like say, in this mean pleasure. It will not allow you to look for the superior happiness, like the happiness of enlightenment, happiness of Nibbana. So in that way, Buddha is talking about that one extreme, that is indulging the sensual pleasures, which is, it is very cheap and very mean. That one should avoid. And the second thing is, the first one, which is very base, vulgar, worldly, photogenic, means like it is the way of the worldly people. And then ignoble, anaryo means like, aryo means noble, anaryo means ignoble. It's not noble, it's very like petty, it is very cheap. And anatta samhito means it is profitless. As I told you, there may be some temporary, momentary pleasure, but one will invite more problems, more suffering, more trap, more bondage. It is not of much profit. There is no, it is profitless. That is the meaning of anatta samhita. That is one extreme. One who is looking for Nibbana, one who is looking for enlightenment, he should avoid this cheap approach of deriving happiness. And the other extreme is yochayam atta kilamatanu yogo dukko anariyo anatta samhita. Addiction to self-mortification. Yochayam atta kilamatanu means, atta means like self. Kilmatano means like mortification, means like torturing the body so that the soul will be liberated. With that idea, of course, many spiritual people, they do that. In India, even today, of course, in other religions also, not just in the Indian religions, in other religions also, with this notion of, let's say, torturing the body, we can liberate the soul. That's what these 5 bhikkhus also, these Panchavagya bhikkhus, the 5 disciples were listening to Buddha. They were also having that same notion. One has to torture the body, like just like you are washing one very dirty cloth again and again, completely squeezing, rubbing, removing all the dirt. In that way, you should thoroughly torture this body and make this body completely weak so that the this soul will be liberated. That was the notion of these 5 disciples also. But that Buddha, he completely is rejecting that notion. Just like one string instrument, musical instrument, like some veena or lute, when the strings are very loose, you can't produce proper sound. When the strings are too tight also, you can't produce proper sound. It should be moderately, like say, tightened. It should not be too loose or too tight also. So then only you can produce proper sound. The same thing with the liberation, enlightenment also. Too much torturing of the body or too much indulging in the sensual things of the body. These are the 2 extremes one should avoid. This is one wonderful insight. If you look at this from different perspectives, different angles, different, like say, corollaries, like offshoots of this, to start working on, thinking on, penetrating into this truth, this middle path approach, this moderation approach, this mind-centered approach, not too much bothered about bodily pleasures, bodily sensual pleasures, or too much bothered about the soul, which many people, many religions, they subscribe to that idea because That's how, because of that idea only, that view only, they want to torture the body and liberate the soul. Because they have that concept of soul very much ingrained in their minds. But Buddha is rejecting that also. But soul-centered approach also will make you a stupid person, ignorant person. And you simply start torturing your body, and it's of no use. You'll end up in nowhere. It is like what Buddha is saying. It is again profitless, and it is also ignoble. It is also like a very cheap approach, and it's not a noble approach. That is the meaning of ignoble, anaryo, and it is painful. It is too much torturing the body, thinking that the soul will be liberated. It ends up in nowhere. And it is absolutely simply torturing the body. It makes no sense. So, simply torturing the body with the notion, with the idea, with the belief, with the view that soul will be liberated. You have that very perception, very idea of soul, that very wrong view about that presence of soul, which can be liberated, it can become one with the Supreme Soul. If that kind of ideas you have, then you indulge in this kind of Atma-Kilamatana yoga, torturing the body, which is painful, which is ignoble, which is profitless. So these two extremes one should avoid. That's where the mindfulness comes into picture. That's where completely, like say, depending on body for your pleasures, for your happiness, that you can, like say, you can come out of that kind of foolishness also. And the other kind of foolishness, by torturing the body, liberating the soul, is possible by subscribing to this kind of soul theories. So many kinds of soul theories. In so many religions, there are so many kinds of soul theories. And if you just keep away all those soul theories, and then you can keep away this torturing of the body, and then you start working on the mind, that mind-centered approach. The basis for this mind-centered approach is in this middle path approach, in this mindfulness approach, in this moderation approach, in this non-extreme approach. One will not indulge in these two extremes when he is mind-centered. One is interested in knowing about one's own mind, developing the mind, purifying the mind, liberating the mind. If that approach, if one has to subscribe, understand, and progress in this, then one has to come out of these two approaches, which the most of the worldly people, they subscribe and they get trapped in suffering, in disillusionment, in confusion, in a lot of pain to the body and to the mind also. So this is one very powerful teaching which will strike much of the ignorance that the world is into. World is into this kind of two approaches, which are like say full of ignorance. So one can come out of these two approaches in the name of religion, in the name of wisdom, in the name of knowledge, in the name of God, in the name of happiness. The world is stuck in these two extremes, which is definitely absolute ignorance. One should come to the means, avoid the extremes, come to the means, come to this middle path, come to this mind-centeredness. That is the clarion call given by Buddha, very authoritative call it is, to these 5 disciples also. This is the first powerful message in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. What is that? Avoid the extremes, come to the means. Avoid the extreme paths to liberate from the suffering to achieve true happiness. Come to this mind-centered approach, the moderation approach, the middle path approach, where you are not torturing the body too much. At the same time, you are not indulging too much in the bodily pleasures. Torturing the body because the soul will be liberated. With that view, with that wrong view, come out of that wrong view. Come out of this. The body only gives me happiness. That kind of wrong view. That means that theistic and atheistic approaches. Atheistic approaches are these materialistic approaches, body-centered approaches. Theistic approaches are these soul-centered approaches. That's why they end up in this God theories, soul theories. So come out of these two extreme approaches. Work on the mind, understand the mind, purify the mind, liberate the mind. That's where your happiness, your enlightenment, your freedom, your wisdom, your nibbana, everything is rooted there. Mind-centered, mindfulness-centered approach. So in that way, this is the one key message, first powerful key message in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Now we will see the next important message. And of course, it has again so many dimensions, so many angles. The second important message that we will see now. Ete ko bhikkave ubo ante anupagamma majjima patipada tathagatena abhisambuddha chakkukarani jnanakarani upasamaya abhinyaya sambodhaya nibbanaya sambuddha. By avoiding these two extreme approaches, if you follow the middle path approach, then your eye will open up. Then you will start get tathagatena by discovered by Buddha, this middle path approach, which is not this extreme approach. The middle path approach discovered by Buddha, who has seen this middle path approach very authoritatively, and thereby who achieved the supreme knowledge, Sambodhi, Nibbana, he achieved Upasama, complete stilling of the mind, settling of the mind that Buddha has achieved. That middle path approach you should take up. What is that middle path approach? The very noble eightfold path is the middle path approach. Ayameva aryo attangiko maggo. That itself is the Majjhima Patipada. Majjhima Patipada means middle path. So what is this Majjhima Patipada, middle path, which is non-extreme approach? The noble eightfold path is the middle path. So what is this noble eightfold path? Ayameva aryo attangiko maggo. The very noble eightfold path, which contains the 8 components, the 8 limbs, the 8 steps. The first one is Samma Ditti, right understanding, Samma Sankappo, right thought, Samma Vacha, right speech, Samma Kammanto, right action, Samma Ajivo, right livelihood, Samma Vayamo, right effort, Samma Sati, right mindfulness, Samma Samadhis, right concentration. So this is the noble eightfold path that Buddha has discovered and through which Buddha became completely liberated. That approach you should take to avoid the extreme approaches like the body-centered approach or the soul-centered approach, the body torturing approach that is the soul-centered, or simply indulging in the bodily pleasures. These two approaches you should avoid, and you should take up this middle path. It is nothing but the noble eightfold path, which contains these 8 limbs, starting from right view to right concentration. If you thoroughly understand and practice this right view up to the right concentration, that's you are done with your goal, your the purpose. So in that way, Buddha started appreciating this middle path, this noble eightfold path, the beginning of which, the first step of which is the right view. So now this because what is this right view? Now this because is the noble truth of suffering. Is the middle path which Tathagata has comprehended, which promotes sight and knowledge and which tends to peace, higher wisdom, enlightenment, and nibbana. So this Noble Eightfold Path, it leads to Nibbana. And in this, the first one is right view. And this right view is understanding what is suffering. The right view is actually the Four Noble Truths. If you understand Four Noble Truths, then you are understanding, you have understood much of the right view. So there are a few more things, but if you thoroughly understand the Four Noble Truths, thoroughly, deeply, as explained here in this sutta, then you have understood the right view. So, first step is right view in this Noble Eightfold Path. So, the right view, if you have the noble, these Four Noble Truths, if you have understood, then you have the right view. So, what is this noble truths, the Four Noble Truths? The first one is the noble truth of suffering. Idankopana bhikkave dukkhaṃ arya satya. The noble truth of suffering. If you understand noble truth of suffering, then you have understood the right view, the first step in this Noble Eightfold Path. So, what is this noble, the first noble truth, the noble truth of suffering? Jati pi dukkha, birth is suffering. Jara pi dukkha, decay is suffering. Vyadhi pi dukkha, sickness is suffering. Maranam pi dukkhaṃ, death is suffering. And then appiyehi sampayogo dukkho, like appiyehi sampayogo dukkho is like being in association with whom you don't like, the unpleasant people. That itself is again dukkha. Piyehi vipayogo dukkho. If you are to be with in the association of if you have to separate from the loved ones, dear ones, piyehi vipayogo, that is also dukkha. Yam picchan na labati tampi dukkha. Whatever you wish, if you don't get it, that is also dukkha. That is also suffering. Sankittena panchupadana kanda dukkha. Sankittana means in brief, in short, panchupadana kanda is 5 clinging aggregates. 5 clinging aggregates means that many of you know when you have gone through these courses, basic course, advanced course, the 4 faculties of the mind, they are the 4 aggregates of the mind. And other body aggregate, this total 5 aggregates, carrying them, bearing them, that itself is dukkha. In that way, in the courses you have learned, there is something called physical suffering, the mental suffering, and the very existential suffering. Physical suffering is about the birth, death, illness, old age. These things are the physical suffering. Mental suffering is this kind of whatever you wish you don't get. You have to be in association with the wrong people, unpleasant people, and you have to be associated. You have to give up association with the loved ones. These are all the mental suffering. And the existential suffering is like bearing this body and mind like a luggage, like a burden, always taking care of this body and mind with tension, with fear, with a feeling of insecurity, feeling of losing it. That is existential suffering. So these 3 levels of suffering, you understand, then you are into right view, you are into this middle path, you are into this Noble Eightfold Path. So that's what Buddha is talking about, these 4 Noble Truths. And these 4 Noble Truths, again, one of the greatest discoveries, greatest contributions of Buddhas, which of course is the very first knowledge, the very first aspect in this right view, which is the beginning of this Noble Eightfold Path or this middle path, to avoid these extremes of body-centeredness or the soul-centeredness. So you should understand this Noble Eightfold Path and this right view and this first Noble Truth. This, the Noble Truth of suffering. And then, Idankopana bhikkave dukkha samudayam arya satya. So this dukkha is there, suffering is there, these three kinds of suffering is there, physical suffering, mental suffering, existential suffering. Why this? What is the reason? Samudaya means the cause of suffering also you should understand. The noble truth of the cause of suffering. The noble truth of the cause of suffering is Vyayantanaha Ponabhavika Nandi Raga Sahagata Tatra Tatravi Nandini Sayatidan Kamatanaha Bhavatanaha Vibhavatanaha. My mind is so restless with the three kinds of expectations, attachments, cravings. The craving is a kind of ignorance which makes you to think that you will get happiness there. That's what is the meaning of this. It is this craving which produces rebirth, accompanied by passionate clinging, welcoming this and that in the life. Andiraga Sahagata, like trying to, like say, take pleasure in this and that. Tatra Tatra Vinandini, trying to take pleasure here, pleasure there. In that way, mind jumps with craving, with clinging, with ignorance, thinking that by catching this, I will get happiness. And again, jumping to this, again, I will get happiness. In that way, like a monkey is trying to jump from one branch to another branch in pursuit of the fruits, thinking that this fruit it gives happiness to that monkey. In the same way, the human mind, with its ignorance, with its uncontrolledness, with its, like say, not having the clarity about where is happiness, it is jumping restlessly, stupidly, foolishly in pursuit of happiness, with this clinging, with this craving to different objects, whether it is sensual objects or becoming something, that ego inflation, or simply, like say, in pursuit of, or foolishly, you are in pursuit of this Nibbana, so not knowing the path to Nibbana. Even the craving for Nibbana is also one kind of craving. So in these three kinds of craving, the mind is struck. That's why there is suffering. So craving is the cause of suffering. So what is this three kinds of craving? Craving for sensual things. Eat this, touch this, listen to this, see this, taste this, enjoy this. So in that way, in some sensual objects, the mind is like say wanting something because it has a notion that it will get happiness in these sensual things, with the sensual excitement and enjoyment. So that is the sensual craving. Kamatanaha, Bhavatanaha, to become something, to become so and so, to become this popular, name and fame, get appreciated, get prized, get pampered, motivated, get like say appreciated, prized, getting power, position, to become something. That is also one pursuit of the human beings. Foolishly not knowing what will lead to this, simply seeking, craving, not involving in the proper action, and looking for it, craving for it, with having some clinging, having the ignorance of by getting it, I will be happy. So that kind of bhavatanaha, to become something, the craving to become something, the craving to becoming is another kind of craving, which is again the cause of suffering. The third one is not to become emancipated, liberated, enlightened, getting Nibbana, simply craving for Nibbana. Many people I have seen, though they are renunciates, they don't work at all, they don't indulge in the path, they don't appreciate and enjoy the path to Nibbana. Simply they are craving for Nibbana, craving for liberation, craving for enlightenment, craving for spiritual supremacy. That is actually biggest suffering that is. You don't know the path, don't involve in the path, don't appreciate and rejoice in the path, simply craving for enlightenment, liberation. That is the biggest suffering. These three kinds of suffering, kamatanaha, bhavatanaha, vibhavatanaha, is the second noble truth. Craving is the cause of suffering. And the third noble truth is it is a complete separation from and the destruction of this very craving. Dukkha nirodhangarya sachin yo tassaya tanahaya asesa viraga nirodho chal. With the reminder also, even the small reminder also, if you remove, reminder of what? The craving, if you remove from your mind, then you are entering into the third noble truth. That is, the cessation of suffering is possible by removing, giving up, letting go of this craving. Tassaya tanahaya asesa virago chago patini saggo mukti analo. That I have explained this four aspects of letting go. Chago means like giving. Patini saggo means like one for which you are strongly attached. Think that if you give it up, then you will die. You can't give it up. That kind of strong attachment. That also you give up. Then ready to accept whatever that comes to you. Have that freedom of acceptance, not resistance. And then analayam is like ready to accept and ready to give up. The mind is so soft, either to accept also, either to give up also. So these are the four kinds of letting go. And once you become skillful in these four kinds of letting go, then all your cravings can be removed, and then you can be removed from you are removed from the suffering also. So that is the third noble. And again, the fourth noble truth is dukkha nirodhagamini patipada ayameva ari attangiko magosayatidang sammaditi sammasankapo sammavacha sammata. Again, this fourth noble truth is the path. Patipada arya satya. The path to develop this letting go. There is a clear path. Again, starting from this right view to right concentration. In all these 8 steps, in right view, when you keep on developing this right view, good begets good, bad begets bad, and this these four noble truths, developing more and more insight in this. Majjhima Patipada, developing more and more insight in this non-extreme path, middle path, and developing insights into anicca, dukkha, anatta, developing insights into dependent origination, that many of you know. So these other aspects of this samadhi, this right view also, if you start understanding, and of course these noble four noble truths also, if you start understanding, that is right view. And from there, if you start practicing, developing the right thoughts in your mind, speaking correctly, rightly, and then with controlled mind, with when you control the mind, when you are speaking, when you are acting, when you are in your livelihood, then you are controlling your own greed, hatred, delusion, your defilements of the mind, your impurities of the mind. Then automatically mind gets purification. Automatically the tanahas, the cravings of the mind, keep on eradicating. Then you start getting liberation, true happiness. Up to this right concentration, samma samadhi. And once you achieve thorough samma samadhi, then you will get samma right knowledge, samma jnana, and then samma vimukti, the right liberation also. So this samma jnana and samma vimukti, the right knowledge and the right liberation, it is the consequence of this noble eightfold path. Up to samma samadhi, if you achieve, then automatically you will get samma jnana and samma vimukti also. So in that way, you practice this noble eightfold path, then you will become authoritative in this art of letting go, art of giving up, and then you achieve supreme enlightenment, absolute enlightenment. So in that way, this fourth noble truth also, Buddha is explaining. The four noble truths, if you understand and if you practice them, then you are established in this right view. And that right view, if you establish, then you are right thinking, right speech, right action, everything will follow. Everything will follow this right view. And then you will get right concentration also. Then after that, right knowledge and right liberation also you will get. And you will be completely free from all kinds of suffering. From its core, from its roots, you can destroy suffering. Because this right path will destroy your cause of suffering, your craving it will destroy. So in that way, Buddha gives this Noble Eightfold Path, that is the middle path, that is the first teaching, non-extreme path. And the first step in this right view. Right view itself is the first step in this noble path. And again, the first step in this right view, that is Four Noble Truths, if you understand. If you understand Four Noble Truths, you can understand the Noble Eightfold Path. If you understand Noble Eightfold Path, you can understand it. It's like cyclical. One will make you to understand the other. It's Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path. So, which is connected by this right view. So that's why we give a lot of emphasis on right view. Work on right view. You'll understand Four Noble Truths also. You'll understand the Noble Eightfold Path also. And you'll come out of this non-extreme, these extreme views. So in that way, right view, it will actually summarize in a way both these powerful tips given by Buddha, powerful messages given by Buddha, powerful teachings given by Buddha in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra. What is that? The Noble Eightfold Path, the middle path, the non-extreme path. That is point number one. Point number two is the Four Noble Truths. Dukkha Satya, the noble truth of suffering, the noble truth of cause of suffering, the noble truth of cessation of suffering, that is complete eradication of suffering, that is the third noble truth. And the noble truth of the path that leads to the cessation of suffering. That is the fourth noble truth. So these Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path, actually they are connected by, they are linked by this right view. So if you understand right view, you can understand both this Noble Eightfold Path and this Four Noble Truths. Then the liberation process starts. So in that way, you should understand this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Then Buddha again starts explaining. See, he started understanding this, each of these noble truths at three levels. The first noble truth, he starts understanding at 3 levels. The same way, second noble truth, third noble truth, and fourth noble truth also, he started understanding at, like say, Triparivatta, in 3 aspects. In 3 aspects, he can't say levels, you can say in 3 aspects, he started understanding the noble truth, these 4 noble truths. And in each aspect, he says, Chakkum Udapadi, Jnanam Udapadi, Panya Udapadi, Vidya Udapadi, Aloka Udapadi. Eyes, the true eye has opened up. That means the true knowledge. Jnanam is knowledge, the true knowledge, it has come. Panya, the right wisdom, it started arising in his mind. Vidya means again the true knowledge started arising in his mind. Aloka means the light. Light started arising in his mind, the light of enlightenment. Supreme enlightenment. With each aspect of this 4 noble truths. So the 3 aspects in 1 noble truth. In 4 noble truths, 4 into 3, 12 aspects. Dvadasakara. Some is 12. In these 12 aspects, he started experiencing the supreme enlightenment. So these 4 noble truths has 12 aspects. 12 levels, 12 aspects. In each aspect, he started realizing the supreme enlightenment. That's what Buddha is explaining. So first he understood, oh, this is the dukkha arya satya. Jatiti dukkha, this, oh, this is dukkha. That way he started seeing dukkha as dukkha. People simply, they cover it up. So they are going through this dukkha and simply out of some kind of, like say, delusion, they just simply cover it up. And they try to pretend they're happy in whatever they are doing. But you should remove that cover. And you should see the truth of this suffering as the truth of suffering. Suffering as suffering, you have to see. So that courage of seeing the suffering as suffering, is the first knowledge, the first, let's say, aspect, the first level in these Four Noble Truths. And with this very courage of seeing the suffering as suffering, that has enlightened Buddha. Vidya Udapadi, Jnana Udapadi, Aloka Udapadi started getting the enlightenment. Actually, during that night of enlightenment that Buddha was going through under this Bodhi tree, the very first watch of the night, he could see his previous lives, millions of previous. The second watch of the night, he could see the, like say, previous lives of so many other beings, humans, divine beings, other animals also. So many beings, he started comprehending the previous lives, what kind of action leads to what kind of rebirth. He could comprehend that during his second watch of night. During the third watch of night, when he was supposed to get the supreme enlightenment, he started getting the insights into these noble truths. That is the power of noble truths. That is the sophistication, that is the brilliance, that is the absolute culmination of supreme enlightenment. It's in understanding the Four Noble Truths. So these 12 aspects of this Four Noble Truths, in each aspect he started getting the supreme, the glimpse of the supreme enlightenment. By comprehending this first aspect of this first noble truth, there is suffering, the noble truth of suffering. If he simply started getting some glimpse of this first aspect of first noble truth, he started getting absolute light, absolute knowledge of liberation, of supreme enlightenment. Then the second aspect of this first noble truth is parinyayanti me bhikkhave. Dukkam garya satchang. Parinyayanti means parinna means overall understanding. It has to be completely understood. It has to be completely perceived. Parinyayanti means it has to be completely perceived. That very aspect, the second aspect, it has to be completely perceived. That second aspect, when he starts observing about this first noble truth, again he started getting light, supreme enlightenment, the right knowledge, the right wisdom. His Dhammacakkappavattana, the wisdom eye, started opening. And parinyayanti me bhikkhave. So when he has completely perceived, it has to be perceived, that is the second one. When it is completely perceived, action is done, and he completely understood the first noble truth thoroughly. Thoroughly pursued. Parinyayanti means like thoroughly, overall understanding, overall perceiving of this dukkha. When it is done, then also powerful light, powerful wisdom, powerful freedom arose in his mind. In the same way, the second noble truth, when he just understood the craving is the cause of suffering, and that very understanding level itself has freed his mind to a great extent, and it gave him a lot of light, wisdom, freedom, the eye of wisdom, Jnana, it opened up. And then when he pahatabbanti me bhikkhave, after knowing craving is the cause of suffering, the second aspect is, second level of the second aspect is pahatabbanti. It has to be eliminated. The cause of suffering, that is craving, it has to be eliminated. That insight arose in his mind. Second aspect of the second noble truth. Again, lot of wisdom, lot of freedom, light arose in his mind. Then pahinanti me bhikkhave. That means completely eradicated. So in his mind, the craving is completely eradicated. It has to be eradicated. That is the second aspect. That very knowledge of it has to be eradicated, that liberates his mind to a great extent. When the mind has completely eradicated, pahinanti means completely eradicated. Mind has completely eradicated all that craving. Then again, the great knowledge, the great wisdom arose in his mind. Then dukkha nirodham garya, the third noble truth, it has to be cessation of dukkha. That is third noble truth. And that he understood. Again, lot of wisdom developed in his mind. knowledge developed in his mind, light arose in his mind. Satchikat abbanti me bhikkave. Dukkha nirodham arya satchang. Satchikat abbanti means it has to be realized. The cessation of dukkha has to be realized. Has to be realized. That very aspect of has to be realized itself. Again, it liberated his mind. It gave a lot of wisdom. Satchikat abbanti means it has to be realized. The cessation of dukkha has to be realized. Not simply stuck in this dukkha. It's not good. It has to be realized, that aspect, that knowledge, when it arose in his mind. Again, he got a lot of light, lot of like say the eye of wisdom opened up. Then again, the fourth, the next aspect, the third aspect in this third novel, Satchikatanti me bhikkave. When it completely realized the cessation of dukkha. Satchikat abbanti means it has to be realized. Satchikatanti means it realized that action is done. A realizing action is done. Then also he developed the wisdom of supreme enlightenment. Then in the fourth noble truth, this noble eightfold path, when that has to be, when that is understood, when that is seen, the first aspect of the fourth noble truth, he developed again supreme enlightenment, and it has to be bhave tabbanti. Dukkha nirodha gamini patipada arya satchang bhave tabbanti. Bhave tabbanti means it has to be developed. This noble eightfold path, it has to develop step by step. Develop this right view step by step. Develop this samma sankappo, samma vacha, samma kammanto, samma vayam. By practicing morality, by practicing meditation, mindfulness, concentration, it has to be developed step by step. So then that very knowledge of it has to be developed. Again, supreme enlightenment, one more aspect of supreme enlightenment opened up in his mind. So that's why all of you are developing that directly, indirectly. Dāna, Shīla, Bhavana, that is also lay people, it is some simplest way of understanding this noble eightfold path. So when you develop this Dāna, Shīla, Bhavana, the meritorious actions and meditations, and understand this right view in different angles, and practice samma sankappo, samma vacha, samma vayam, samma kammanto, that is again Shīla actually. And right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, actually that is samadhi. So in that way, this Shīla, Samadhi, Panya, Dāna, Shīla, Bhavana are this noble eightfold path from right view to right concentration. And it has to be developed. And that insight he got, it has to be developed. Again, it opened up. It led to his supreme enlightenment. And then Bhavitanti may become. It has completely developed. It has to be developed. That very knowledge of has to be developed, and working on the development that liberates you. And when it is completely developed, the noble eightfold path is completely developed. Right concentration is thoroughly achieved, and automatically right knowledge and right liberation, you end up in right liberation. So when that is completely comprehended, then he became supreme enlightened Buddha. Supremely enlightened Buddha. That is Samma Sambuddha. That is his mission that he has started from so many lives, millions of lives that has been completed. He achieved that supreme enlightenment. So much he worked for the supreme enlightenment. All those steps, all those like say tips, knowledges, Buddha could comprehend in this two powerful messages, the noble eightfold path and this, that which is nothing but the middle path, which is nothing but the non-extreme path, the mind-centered path. And the other one is these four noble truths. Craving is the cause of suffering. Letting go is the cause of happiness and liberation, freedom, wisdom. These two powerful messages which are of course required for each and every person, which is like which is rooted in right view, both these knowledges, the Noble Eightfold Path and the Noble Truths. They are rooted in actually right view. So that has been, say, taught to these 5 disciples in this first sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana sutta. So after listening to this, so all this entire world system, it started shaking, trembling, sankampi, sampakampi, and these 5 disciples, those who are listening to Buddha, so this Kondanya, the senior most among these 5 disciples was Kondanya. So he could see, he could establish in this Noble Eightfold Path, and this could understand these 4 noble truths, of course, which are rooted in this right view. He could understand, and he could see the glimpse of Nibbana. He became Sotapanna. He entered into this stream of Nibbana. Sotapanna, that is the meaning. He entered into this stream of Nibbana. That means the Dhammacakka started rolling. The liberating wheel, it started rolling. It pushed this Pandanya, the senior most of these 5 disciples, into this stream of Nibbana. He could escape from this repeated cycle of births and deaths. This Bhava Chakra, Samsara Chakra, was destroyed by this Dhammacakka. Dhammacakka destroyed this Bhava Chakra. In the case of this Pandanya, the first senior most disciple of Buddha, among these 5 disciples also, he was the senior most. Yankinchi Samudaya Dhamman, Sabbang Tang Nirodha Dhamman. For everything that arises in the world, it can be removed, it can be destroyed also, it can be eliminated also. All the dukkha that arises in the world, it can be skillfully eliminated also. Everything arises because of some causes. By removing the causes, you can remove the effect also. That knowledge he got. When he got that knowledge, he entered into the stream of Nibbana. Actually, in so many divine realms also, people were listening to this, and many divine beings also, they were liberated. Among the human realm, this Kondanya also liberated. Then this process was actually, it was heard by so many divine beings. As I was telling you, there are 6 divine realms above the human realm. The first divine realm is this Deva, the earthbound deities. They started, like, say, proclaiming, shouting, oh, this Lord Buddha has enunciated, he has taught, he has, like, say, this Dhammacakkappavattana sutta. So then after listening to them, the next Chatumaharajika Deva. Deva is almost like earthbound. The next divine realm is the Chatumaharajika Deva. Again, they also started shouting, appreciating and shouting that Buddha has taught this Dhammacakkappavattana sutta. This Wheel of Dhamma started rolling, and the above next devas, they heard it, and they also started shouting. That is Tavatimsa Devas. And these Tavatimsa Devas, after their shout out, it's like, say, when some great celebration is going on, the people shout out at the winners, the same way these divine beings, they are giving that shout out to Buddha for rolling this Dhamma wheel, the wheel that liberates people. And above that, that's Yama Devas. Also, they started shouting and listening to them. The Tusta Devas also, they started appreciating and shouting. And above them, the Nimanarati Devas. And above them, Paranimita Vasavati Devas. And above them, Brahmakayika Devas. They were so happy, they were rejoicing, shouting and screaming, appreciating. Like when a great winner has come from some event, from war or something. How people rejoice and shout out him, not him. The same way here, the different devas, they're giving the shout out to Buddha because his mission has completed. All his serious efforts from so many lives, it is giving the fruits now. The people started learning, and this Dhamma wheel started rolling and destroying this Bhava Chakra, the Samsara Chakra, the wheel of Samsara, it is destroying. And after listening to this, Ayancha Dasasahasi Lokadatu Sankampi Sampakampi Sampavedi. The world systems, 1,000 world systems, they started trembling and shaking by this shout out of these different divine beings, the Brahma beings also. So in that way, this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it has a tremendous impact on the human world and also on the divine worlds. After listening, after seeing that this Pandanyo has got it, he could transcend his worldly mind into Aryan mind. Arya means like you could see the glimpse of Nibbana. When he became Arya, when he entered into this stream of Nibbana, Swatapanna, when he became, Buddha also became very happy. And he exclaimed that Anyasivatamo Pandanya, Anyasivatamo. Pandanya got it. Pandanya got this. Pandanya has become, got this Anya, this wisdom. And because of that, he was called as Anya Pandanya, because Buddha prized him, appreciated that at last one person, one human being got knowledge of this liberation, knowledge of this supreme enlightenment, knowledge of this Nibbana. So Buddha first exclaimed with appreciation that this Pandanya has become wise. So his name also became Wise Pandanya, Anya Pandanya. People started calling him as Anya. Anya means like wise. Wise Pandanya. In that way, he became famous, this Pandanya, the first disciple of Buddha. Then, of course, all these 5 disciples, they were given this complete initiation, like he ordained them. Buddha ordained them. And so, in that way, this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it has that significance of liberating one person and establishing this order of the renunciates, order of the noble ones also, because this Pandanya became a noble one, and also the order of renunciates also it started. But actually, the important thing is Sangha means actually the order of the noble ones, whether they are lay people or the renunciates. Sangha means the liberated ones. So in that way, Sangha also started because one more person became a liberated one. He entered into the stream of liberation, stream of Nibbana. That's why the Sangha also started. Along with Buddha, there is one more person, a liberated person. So in that way, this triggered this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, triggered this great wisdom, this great Dhamma to roll. And because of this rolling of this Dhamma, this right, as I told you, this Noble Eightfold Path, Noble Truths, they are connected. They are actually based on this right view. This right view, establishing right view in the world, not only in the world, in the entire universe, that started, because of which the Noble Eightfold Path and the Noble Truths were established. This Majjhima Patipada, this middle path, mind-centered path, the non-extreme of the body-centeredness and soul-centeredness that was discouraged, that was rejected, the mind-centered path, which is actually the essence of the right view, that was established. What is the significance of this Dhammacakkappavattana? And one more person, after listening to this Dhamma, this right view, one more person became liberated. That's how a group started, a Sangha started. So that is the significance of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Okay. So, if you have some questions, you can ask, then we will conclude.
Vandami Bhante ji.
Yes, super sir.
Bhante ji, Lord Buddha, after getting enlightenment at Bodha Gaya under Bodhi tree, he walked up to this Saranath, which is far away from Bodha Gaya.
Sarnath.
Saranath is very, very long. Second one is he directly came to this Panchavargya bhikkhus, 5. And from such a longer distance, how could he know that these 5 bhikkhus were present in the Saranath?
When he achieved supreme enlightenment, he could see the whole universe. What after all finding out these 5 bhikkhus? It is absolutely insignificant thing. For a supremely enlightened one, to find out where these bhikkhus, 5 bhikkhus, is absolutely an insignificant thing. He could find out before finding out these 5 bhikkhus, where they were. He could find out with his supernormal powers where his previous teachers, Crvmg, Alara Kalama, who taught him these jhanas and all, and they were in some Arupa Brahma realms, that he could see. Beings in the Arupa Brahma realms he could see. What after all, seeing, knowing that 5 bhikkhus are in Varanasi. It is absolutely insignificant for a supremely enlightened one.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Supreme enlightenment is like greatest wisdom, no? Like Dibba Chakku, Dibba Sota, they could see the whole world system. So Mahakarana Samapatti, Buddha used to see not only some particular person, their maturity, their mind also, how much matured they are to perceive this knowledge. That kind of supernormal power, supernormal knowledge just the Buddhas have after supreme enlightenment. Finding out a particular person, it is absolutely like, it's like say, it's not at all an issue. It's not at all a point to be like say, even to think of. It is nothing for a supremely enlightened one. Okay, next question.
Vandami Vande.
Sadhu.
Yeah. The question was arise like the first thing, like 2 ends we should not hold, and we should start in from middle path. The Buddha started with the 3rd Shila, like
not just 3rd Shila. Don't
relate.
Okay, complete your question. Let us see.
Yeah. So like Kame Sumichachara. And but when we started this Shila, first Shila is Panatipata. Then some like importance must be there, like this 5 Shila from 1 to 5. But in Dhammacakkappavattana, he suggested like the first thing which we have to given up, that is the Kame Sumichachara. Like
understood. You can't relate Kames Michachara with this Kama Sukallikanu Yoga that Buddha is talking about. Here, Kama Sukallikanu Yoga is like sensual pleasures, the bodily sensual attractions and pleasures. It is related to all the 5 senses. That is Kames Michachara, it is for this sexual thing. And it is completely a different way of looking at it, like this. Not to kill, not even for the sensual things only people kill. Sensual things only people steal. Why people steal wealth from others? Because they want to grab money and they want to indulge in their sensual pleasures. Kames Michachara is one of the sensual pleasures. The other things also, whether it is killing or stealing or lying, they're all rooted in your sensual desires only. To control your sensual desires to some extent, we give the precepts, the 5 Shilas. And don't compare and relate these Kamesu Michachara, this one of the aspects of these 5 precepts, with this Kama Sukallikanu Yoga. So this this body-centered pleasures, in that way you should understand this Kama Sukallikanu. This body-centered pleasures one should give up. The soul-centered pleasures one should give up. Work on the mind-centeredness. That is the message in this middle path approach, this non-extreme approach. The first message in this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta.
Okay, Bhanteji. It was very nice to hear Dhammacakkappavattana fully from you. Honored. Thank you.
Bye.
Vandame Bhanteji. When Buddha has got enlightenment, and after the 7 weeks, he gave the Dhammacakkappavattana, delivered the Dhammacakkappavattana to the world. And then the deities get enjoyed and यानी उनको शुक्रिया अदा कर रहे. लेकिन दिस 7 weeks में सिर्फ Brahma, Shammapati Brahma was acknowledge his knowledge, acknowledge his enlightenment, and all other deities were silent. Is this so? And why that was there?
All other deities were silent when?
All our deities were silent. They were not knowing, they were not acknowledging the enlightenment of the Buddha is my perception, as I have heard something. लेकिन जो 7 हफ्ते में जो नॉलेज बोधि प्राप्त किया भगवान बुद्ध ने, तो वो सिर्फ शम्मापति उनको रिक्वेस्ट करने आ गए थे कि भाई तुम डिलीवर करो आदमी के जनता के लिए. बाकी के लोग, बाकी के सब देवता साइलेंट क्यों थे? यानी उनको मालूम नहीं था क्या?
ये ब्रह्म सहपति सभी लोग आने का जरूरी था क्या भगवान बुद्धा का पास आके रिक्वेस्ट करने के? एक तो आया ना ब्रह्मा, इसलिए we should be happy. At least one person came and requested Buddha, and because of his request, Buddha started teaching. Even you see, even Buddha himself, he was not like, say, though he worked for it for so many millions of lives, at that moment, somehow he was so much saturated with this happiness of supreme enlightenment. He thought of going to Himalayas and just enjoy this supreme enlightenment until that body he was to be with the body, and then give up the body and enter into supreme this Nibbana. When that thought came, of course, to read the Samma Sambuddha's mind also a lot of maturity is required, you know. Only the Brahmas, they will be having that kind of maturity, and that Brahma Samapatti who is a little bit bothered about the world also, and who is observing Buddha because of his, like say, his progress, his commitment to become Samma Sambuddha, and again out of compassion, out of concern for the world, he came to Buddha, and we should be happy at least one of them, one of the Brahmas, one of the Devas, he could come and he could request Buddha. It's again, it's like the concern of Brahma Samapatti and his compassion to the humans. He came and requested, and also he knew the power of Buddha, because Buddha has completed all the forms and he achieved supreme enlightenment. He can make up his mind, and it is his very purpose. Samma Sambuddha's very purpose is to teach in that way. And also there is one more reason, one more very practical reason is also there. In this Brahma Samapatti, where most of the Indians, they were like, say, they considered Brahma as the creator, right? There were a lot of faith in Brahma. They have a lot of faith in Brahma. And of course, even now also, all these Brahmins have faith in Brahma. That's why they're called Brahmins. And when this Brahma himself has come and requested Buddha, then it will have a tremendous impact on these so-called Brahmins. Like, let us say, those who are looking for the ultimate truth or ultimate liberation, at least some of them. And they were the most influential people. And if they realize that their absolute deity, whom they think is the creator, whom they think he is the ultimate creator, he himself approached Buddha and requested Buddha to teach this, then there is more receptivity among the people who listen to Buddha. That is one practical impact. That practical impact also this Brahma Sahampati could see. And again, because of that reason, he came to Buddha and he requested, so that the people will get the message that it is not Brahma Sahampati who is creator, who is the liberator, who is the Buddha, who is the liberator. Thereby the people may develop more inclination, more interest in listening to Buddha, and develop more receptivity to listen to Buddha. So that is the practical significance of Brahma Sahampati approaching and requesting Buddha. So that way, there are so many reasons why this kind of events happen in the existence. Why the Brahma should come other than other small devas. The people may not be much interested in the words of the requests of small devas. And the Supreme Creator himself is requesting Buddha, then it has a tremendous impact on the people to receive Buddha, to listen to Buddha. So that way, there may be so many other reasons why this event happened after Supreme Enlightenment of Buddha, why Brahma has approached.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay. We'll conclude with one small chanting. All of you rejoice in this very event of Dhammacakkappavattana, this day, celebrations of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta Pavattana day, and then understand this core message of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta and apply these things in your life. Simply for the sake of some intellectual knowledge, I don't like people simply looking for these things just for the sake of intellectual knowledge, with some speculative interests about the world, about divinity, about creator, about liberation. Just take it into your practical life. Yeah, this 4 number 2. So this is Noble Eightfold Path, and this Noble Eightfold Path. How much I can imbibe it, how much I can apply it. In that way, you should take this knowledge. Then only it is useful knowledge. For the sake of some intellectual excitement, it simply boosts our ego, that's all. I know so many things. I know about Brahmas, I know about Buddhas, I know about Devas, I know about Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the background, everything. That knowing is many times will become an obstacle for our progress in this one. The application aspect, it becomes an obstacle. A wise person should look into its application aspect, its practical aspect, how I can imbibe these things in my life. In that way, you should look at all these things, whether all these things, our meditations, our meritorious actions, our Dhamma, our learning, our right view, the different ways and means to grasp and establish in this right view that we are going through, progressing. You should look at in your life how they are useful. Then your wisdom also will grow like anything. And your happiness also, your freedom also will enhance like anything. You progress in happiness, freedom, wisdom in a very authoritative way. That speculativeness, some illusionary knowledge, speculative knowledge, it simply hinders our progress in this applied wisdom, practical wisdom. And thereby it hinders our true happiness, true liberation, true peace of mind. So in that way, that is actually the right questioning, the right path, right approach to this this right view. Right approach to this right path is one should look at all these points, all these tips, all these messages, all these meditations, all this knowledge with an aspect of how it is useful to my life, how I can apply these things in my life, and how I can, like say, help others also by applying these things in my life, and also helping others how it will be useful for them if they apply in their lives. With that application aspect, if you look at these things, then I will be happy and you will be definitely happy. And that's how this should roll. This Dhamma wheel should roll. Simply knowing the things like these books and all these things are there from time immemorial, all this knowledge, but simply it will remain as some intellectual knowledge. In what way it is helping? It inspires you just for a few moments and then we'll forget, and when we indulge in all these ignorant things in the life. So of course, this kind of discussion and all, to some extent it inspires. And even this discussion also, if you see from this perspective, how it can be applied in the life, in one's own life and also in the lives of others. With that perspective, if you look at all these things, then the growth will be fast and it will be like a superior growth. And it will be a superior service also to yourself and also to others. In that way, just look at this, even this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra and today's all these discussions, and it will help you to a great extent. And you help others also. Many times I see that people are becoming very selfish and self-centered in this path. Okay, I am working on this. Okay, I appreciate if self-centeredness is the must. That is what is actually the core of self-liberation is, of course, important. Developing in this knowledge is important by oneself. And by helping others, promoting this to others also, it will help again us only. Not helping other person to understand these things, to motivate them in different ways and means, use your intelligence to comprehend all these things and to help other person based on his need, how much I can motivate him, push him, or pull him, or divert him from his wrong path to right path, this path, by promoting, by like say, propagating these things, then your mind will comprehend all this knowledge and you will get more motivation to practice these things. That's what I am doing. I am doing all these things, giving all my, like say, my time, my energy, my intelligence, my everything to this because it is helping me to comprehend, penetrate deep and deep into this knowledge. That is the power of this. That is the attraction of this knowledge. So in that way, if you just start spreading the word, promoting this in a skillful way, propagate this in a very skillful way, then you are the first beneficiary. Don't think that by helping others, we lose our time, lose our, like say, resources and energy and all. Don't think like that. You are the first beneficiary. Just like what I am doing. I'm doing all these things, pushing these things because I am the first beneficiary for when I'm comprehending, learning, teaching. Teaching is the best way of learning. Same way, promoting is also the best way of learning. But we just be, like say, be enthusiastic, be, like say, confident and aggressive in promoting this. You'll get a lot of, let's say, some powers, some confidence, some energy levels will increase. When that energy levels will increase, then practicing then becomes more easy. So in that way, help others by pushing. That is the very meaning of this Dhammacakkappavattana. You have to roll this. Do not hold on to this and keep it with you. Dhammacakka, once you got this Dhamma, we should make it to roll. Should push it to, like say, to roll and to reach more and more people. Don't hesitate. Don't like say step back. Oh, people, they can't understand. True. Many people, they can't understand this. The world is stuck in these two extremes. They can't, it's difficult, but we should not stop our effort, you see. I have given up, sacrificed everything just to keep on pushing. It may happen today or next year or 10 years or in this life or next life, but I don't want to give it up. I keep pushing. I may lose everything. I may lose my life also. I don't care. That in that very pushing and thereby comprehending this knowledge, that itself is giving me immense happiness. And that is enough, good enough for me. And that is again punya, that is again for me, that is again, let's say, deeper understanding of this Dhamma. And that is what is this Dhammacakkappavattana. That spirit, if you start working and pushing and enthusiastically, not with some hesitation, with some fear, with some lack of confidence, no. Don't bother about the result, outcome of your promotion and pushing. The very act of pushing and promoting, you just enjoy that. And it works better with that confidence, with that joy. If you push this, it works better. It will have better impact on other people. So that way, just see, next fortnight, we are going to start this. From July 27, we are going to start this integrated course, which is like compiling the best of Dhammacakkappavattana Siddha, or best of right view techniques, meditations. And I want to experiment this 10 days Sunday programs, and I want to make it one, maybe if possible, the final approach is to promote this right view through online. And then, as I was telling, we can focus on the offline courses and the residential retreats. So for that, this is the eligibility. Let more and more people become eligible by attending this this integrated course, which will commence from the next to next Sunday, July 27th. And then let them be eligible for our residential courses also. Both these approaches, both online and offline approaches, we will see how best we can reach more and more people and how much they can establish in this right view, in this Dhamma, in this noble path. Okay. I think with this message, we'll conclude. We'll conclude with yes, Super sir.
Yes. The integrated course now, which is starting, commencing on next Sunday. The age limit is 15 years. My grandson is of 13 years. Can he join it?
He's 13 years.
13 years.
He looks very mature. He looks like say. That we will discuss, Super sir. Maybe after, maybe evening or sometime you can call me. We will discuss.
Secondly, Anteji, the first Dhammacakkappavattana is a very important and very vital in for our meditators and all sadhaks or all world. In Kondanna got Srotapanna. But in the second sermon also, we request you to explain us the Ananta Lakhan Sutta, in which all the 5 Panchavagya were get enlightened. So it may be, it will be also useful. So we will wish to hear from you that at any time as you wish and as you permit.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good request. Very wise, intelligent, and very good request. It has, there is a lot of sense in it. Yeah, we can have it that next Sunday Dhamma talk, or next Sunday. We will see, Upasat. Definitely we'll have it either on next Sunday itself we can have it, or next month, that is first Sunday of the next month. Every first Sunday of the month we have Dhamma talks, no? So we can have it next month, first Sunday, in this Anatta Lakkana Sutta. Then the next one, Aditya Pariyaya Sutta, also important Sutta. They are quite relatively brief suttas. Both of them we can combine, Anatta Lakkana and Aditya Pariyaya, and we can have on the Dhamma talk either next Sunday or the first Sunday of next month. So we can have that.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you. Thank you.
Anatta Lakkana and Aditya Pariyaya. Okay, fine. Okay, now we will conclude with one small chanting. Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada swati bhavantu te sukhi bhaveyang nidduko ahang nicca ahang viya hitacha me sukhi hontu majjata shataverino imam higammante dhamme satta hontu sukhi sada tato paranchara jesu chakkavale sujantuno sa. Sukhivant Mangalpo. May all of you be happy, healthy, and peaceful. May all beings also be happy, healthy, and peaceful. May the blessings of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha be always upon you and your family. And may all of you progress in this Dhamma and this right way. And this Dhammacakkappavattana, let it happen in your lives and in the lives of your near and dear ones. That this Dhammacakka, let it start rolling with more efficiency, with more impact, and let it transform your lives. May all of you be blessed. Sukhivant Mangal. Sukhivant.